Well, hello, and welcome to Geeks Are Wired, where we talk about video games, movies, TVs, comic books, technology, and TLDR, the Internet of Things. I'm your host, Ted, and this week I'm joined by Bill.
Hello.
And Anthony.
Hi.
And remember, you can always contact us at geeksarwired@gmail.com or give us a call, leave a message, 801-896-4335. For all of you who don't know, that spells geek. We are also found on Patreon, patreon.com/geeksarwired. You can get the podcast early, and that really helps us out so we can pay those bills for podcasting.
And not just me, the bill, but the actual bills.
Oh, yeah, the money goes towards bills, not Bill. But Bill pays the bills.
So it goes towards Bill, then the bills?
Bill pays
It goes to Bill's bills.
Bill's bills.
Bill's bills. And now we've reached semantic satiation. That's where a word stops making sense. Bill, 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 Bill. Bill. You're welcome.
What's the name of this episode, Ted?
This episode is called Geeks Are Wired Face Bill and Ted.
Yay!
And we're going to talk about Bill and Ted Face the Music. Because I said I'd be back if we talked about Bill and Ted. So here I am.
Well, if it ever came out. It came out.
I was expecting it to. Unlike some people, I'm looking at you, Duke Nukem.
It came out.
Did it?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it did. It came out like Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah.
It came out way later and it sucked. So you're the game you're thinking of, like the only one that hasn't come out yet that people want is Half-Life 3. Like that's the new one, and that's.
Oh well, I don't expect that to happen. Valve said they're not going to do anything.
They released an Alex, so.
Eh.
But it's VR only.
I don't know anything about that. I'm okay with it. So, Bill and Ted.
Yes, Theodore.
Are we going to do spoilers?
I was thinking no last week, but unless you're going to be on next week.
I don't plan on coming back next week. I got a busy life full of very important things.
That does happen.
Yeah.
You left your coat behind and the movie came out, so you had to come back to pick up your coat and talk about the movie.
So I absolutely loved it. Anthony, did you get a chance to watch it?
Nope.
Oh, goodness.
I don't plan to.
Oh,
I know he's terrible. So with that, we'll do spoilers. What should we say? Like the first half, the 30-minute mark, maybe?
We could always wait to talk about Bill and Ted until about 30 minutes.
Let's do that.
And then and so talk about other things and then say we're going to do spoilers and then give people to just stop at that point and not have to try and fast forward and be scared or anything like that.
True.
So.
Well, the good news on this one is this one's not just in theaters. This is also a video on demand, so people may be able to go out, rent it, buy it, all the above.
That's very
and
true.
Still watch it in theaters.
How did you watch it, Bill? Did you go to the theater?
I did not.
I don't think they had it here.
No, they have it. Just not at AMC, because AMC's negotiations with Paramount was 2 weeks minimum. Wow. So this came out the day of, and there were the non-AMC theaters ended up getting it.
It said it's select theaters, but I just bought it. I've been buying a lot of movies on YouTube. I got the YouTube Premium, so I do the Google Play movies. And I've been enjoying that.
I got mine through Vudu, and I usually buy through Vudu and use Movies Anywhere to connect it, though I finally connected Apple to it. You have to use an Apple device to it. So if I buy on Vudu, Apple, Google, or I think there's Amazon, it'll actually propagate to all of them. This one I did buy the trilogy at once, so I'm not sure if it's going to propagate right. Plus, I kept on looking on Movies Anywhere, and they didn't have it on their list. So if it does move to the other ones from Vudu, it might be later.
That's interesting. I would be hesitant to buy things on Apple. Didn't they do that thing a while back where they we know you bought streaming this stuff, but if you don't download it now, you're just out of luck? Like all their music or something?
Google's done that recently.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Well, they're going to do it in the next couple of months.
I can see Apple have done that.
I thought it was Apple.
years ago.
Man, maybe I'm a hypocrite or just dumb. I'm probably.
I think they did that with books.
It was something. I remember. I'm gonna have to look that up. Now it's gonna drive me crazy. But there was something that I remember getting pissed off about because they were like, "Yeah, you bought it. You can download it, but we're not gonna provide it anymore." So that's always the danger of buying a streaming product.
But that's also the nice thing about using Movies Anywhere to propagate it to all of them, because once it's out, it's on all of them. So if somebody was to pull it back, they'd have to work with Movies Anywhere to pull it back from everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, so I ended up watching all three of them. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. Cobra Kai just got hit Netflix.
The second, third season?
I only saw the second season. Is the third season on there?
Oh, is it? Okay, so this is the second season.
I think so. Did they add an extra season from when it was on YouTube? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw that. So I watched it up until there were no more. But I'm pretty sure that it's only 2 seasons.
Season 3?
Yeah, 2 seasons.
Or no?
It says 2 seasons.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Wikipedia. But
yeah, they're expecting a third season, but it's not out.
Yeah, it left on a real big cliffhanger. So, but I really enjoyed it when I watched the first season on YouTube. And I started watching the second season a while ago, and I think that was also on YouTube. And then I saw it pop up on Netflix, and I'm just more likely to watch things on Netflix for some reason. So I finished it off on Netflix, and man, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to go into great detail, but like things kept happening that I'm like, yes, that's the thing that I think should happen. That's fantastic. I love that. And then like a little bit later, it'd be like, oh, that thing that I wanted to happen has been ruined by this other thing, and I hate that. And so like they kept doing that to me the whole time. Like, so it just kept me guessing and whatnot. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And I really like how they've been doing everybody's the hero of their own story, and like when you don't have all the information, you make bad choices based on that lacking information.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've really been painting Johnny in a more sympathetic light. Like he's still a jerk, but he's realizing that he's a jerk, and he's trying not to be a jerk. And I think that's just amazing. I love stories of redemption, especially when they're like this. Like it's a redemption story, but he's not like a super evil or anything like that. He's just a flawed human being, and we should see him as such.
And he wants to become better.
Right, yeah. So, if you haven't watched Cobra Kai, man, I'm loving it. And now I'm a walking McDonald's commercial. Sorry.
That has been quite entertaining watching TV lately without commercials. Like we pay for no commercials. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember what it was, but they literally pulled the we have McDonald's dropped off at our our house, and look, we're going to keep the McDonald's McFlurry fronted every shot.
Oh, that's funny. So
what?
It was. I don't remember what show it was.
Product placement.
Yeah.
They're kind of doing product placement, and you know what? I'm fine with that if they don't take a big time with it, or if they make a joke out of it. Like, there's been some shows where they'll make a joke out of the product placement, and I'm fine with that. Especially if it's like a comedy show, mm-hmm. and they just kind of, instead of like subtly placing it somewhere, they're like, "I'm going to drink my Pepsi Max. It's the best Pepsi," and they like talk about it, and, like show it, like kind of. Like make a joke, like I'm fine with that, but it's when it's the I don't know, I don't even. But
it's like subtly everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
well, what was
overly?
I was trying to think of the show, and it's freaking Bones. Bones did that with the cars.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you watched a lot of Bones.
I vaguely remember.
They'd be going from place to place, and they'd like get the new car. And here's how good it was. I don't remember what brand of cars they were or anything like that. So obviously it wasn't a great job, but they'd start talking about the navigation system and how wonderful it is and how great it works and stuff when they're going from one place. Like, so Bones would be telling Angel, I know that's not his name in the show, but he's Angel. So Bones would be telling Angel, like, you need to turn here. And he's like, no, I've got this GPS. It's built in. It says there's traffic there. I'm going to go straight. Had nothing to do with the plot or anything like that. They were just selling the car. And they did it like 3 or 4 times before I actually caught on because I'm a little slow. But like, I mean, that is what it is. I'm willing to accept that. It's kind of like loading screens when they like make the door all intricate and weird to open, or they put you in an airlock and it's really just a hidden loading screen. Or like in Zelda when you're like, you climb up a cliff and they have this like really arduous climb and it's really just a loading screen. Like, I'm good with that it keeps you immersed and everything like that. So, you know, I understand that people are going to make money off advertisement. And I think sometimes the profit margins are a lot thinner than people assume in things. So, you know, I'm okay with that. But at the same time, if I'm paying for something, I'm not going to watch ads. Like, I refuse. So I'll get the Hulu without the ads. And I'll never pay for cable again if I can help it, because I'm not paying for a TV service and then getting ads.
So, and I agree. There's a lot with that, and I don't mind the ads. Like, I've seen them. They're okay. What I dislike is how online has like 3 ads. Like, you see the Target commercial 3 times in the same commercial break, and one of those in every commercial break of this show. It's like, I'm done with Target.
Yeah.
Like, this made me hate Target, actually.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure. The thing is I'm having a hard time sympathizing because I've literally, like, I've got YouTube, the premium, so that I could play music on my Google Home. And so I don't get ads there. Like, I literally don't get ads anywhere, except for like Facebook, and I can choose whether or not I'm going to play those videos, and you usually choose not to. Actually, Facebook has had a ton of ads lately. I've noticed they'll have like 1 post and then 3 suggested posts and then 1 more post, and so I've kind of stopped.
So every 4th post is an ad.
Yeah, it's frustrating. So I've actually closed my Facebook tab several times and just not even bothered about Facebook for a while. Let's see. Okay, sponsored, a friend post. A friend post to a group, or someone posts to a group, a friend post, sponsored.
Let's see what mine looks
so
like.
That was 5. Yeah, 5. 2, 3, 4.
So
4.
Friend post, sponsored, friend post, friend post, friend post. Oh, friend post, sponsored. I think that was 5.
Yeah.
It seems to be 4 or 5 for me. It's like between 4 and 5 posts, and then
when it was first brought up like months ago that this was a thing that was happening, it was literally every 4th or after 4 posts you got an ad.
Yeah. The thing is,
but it looks like they're randomizing it.
I hadn't been on Facebook for a really long time because my living situation changed, and my computer was in a place where I wasn't at often, and so I just didn't get on it that much. And so I just recently got back on my computer and back on the Facebook after like a year and a half, 2 years. And so I kind of got into it real deep, but like, it's really jarring now, and I'm finding myself looking at it less and less. But
that's why I'm liking TikTok way more, because on your For You page, you get the ads, who you're following, that page, or that there's never any ads on it. And when you open it up for the very first time, you'll occasionally get an ad. And also, the thing is, if it looks different from the rest, then that, oh, this is an ad. Sometimes they're entertaining. Sometimes they're for movies. I'm like, oh yeah, this kind of looks, I'll watch this. But basically it's like, oh, look at this game that I play. It's like, nope, not even the same style. Bye.
Yeah. What was I was scrolling through it, and I saw an ad that looked kind of interesting. Like, okay, maybe I'll look at this, and then I played it, and it was fetching horrible. Like, it didn't. It was like it lied to me about what the video was
Oh.
about, basically. Like the
always.
the freaking what do you call that? The screenshot, the picture from the video. Like I don't know. Anyways, it didn't match
Thumbnail?
at all. Yeah, the thumbnail like didn't match at all, and so after that, I just stopped. But like it pisses me off because like Facebook, you'll choose. I set it to go to new posts, and then it always goes back to like most popular or whatever. So I see the same 12 posts over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm really rapidly becoming done with Facebook. Like the only thing that keeps me there is that like it's literally the only contact I have with some of my family members and more extended friend group that I'd like to keep in touch with, that I'm just not going to text all the time and whatnot. So it's, I don't know, it sucks, but that's kind of where I am. I might just turn into like a once a week type scroll through it and see. But yeah,
That's what I used to do.
that's me.
I'd get on it like every couple of days. I don't get on it that often
I get
Anna,
on every couple of months.
Anna,
when you want to sell stuff.
Yep.
Anna, who used to do this podcast, she says that Facebook just kind of depresses her. She doesn't like seeing it.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Same here.
I don't understand that. Like, they'll never do that to me, but like I've heard that a lot. It sounds like Anthony's got the same thing going on.
Yep. It's basically like it puts your mind in a state of, wow, these people are having all this fun. I should also be having this fun. Why don't I have this fun?
Well, there's also the other side of, that brings out anger in you, or brings out depression in you, or stuff like that.
Why anger?
Oh no,
Because you disagree with what they say, or
Oh, those
they
ones
say
I just
something.
hide.
see that's the
As soon
thing.
as that happens, I just unfollow them.
That's the thing I do. Like, someone's wrong on the internet, I must tell them why. Like I do that a lot, but I'm getting better at that. So I just
don't
try not
bother.
to argue. I just get mad when when people think that like other people are invalid just because of who they are. It's really frustrating. So anyways, Epic says Apple threatens catastrophic response in 2 weeks if Fortnite doesn't comply with the rules.
So that is a old post that's been sitting there so that has happened. The damage has been done, and Epic has taken Apple to court. So
What
What?
rules were they not following?
So what they tried to do was take payments through their back, like they enabled payments through their back end.
So they were
Through the app.
circumventing the payments.
Yeah.
And Apple wants some of that $6 billion or whatever they're
Well,
up
it's
they
not
want their
just
30%. So does
Yeah.
Google.
to.
yeah. So does Google, and everybody. Like, I don't know. Like, it's part of the App Store agreement. Maybe it's not correct, but this isn't like the best way to fight it either.
Well, I mean, they host your app for you.
Yeah. Right.
Although they are I'm of two minds, because if I want to put my app out there but I don't agree to their terms, I can't, right? Unless their phones are jailbroke or whatever. Like, I don't.
Well, that's on Apple. But
on Apple, yes.
Yeah.
And then the same is almost true for the Android devices. You could still get apps on there, but it's not easy.
Actually, it's as easy as installing on your computer.
For people who understand how to like get it and whatnot. But like people who just go to the App Store and think and like
Oh yeah,
It's also more less secure that way too.
it can be.
Can be.
well, it's
and
less
most
secure
people-
in that it's not checked the
Right.
same
it's
level.
it's as unsecure as our computers.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
and our computers are full of viruses.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is that I think the whole like because it's on the Android market means it's a safe app is kind of a false sense of security too. But
Oh, they've proven that multiple times.
I don't really have a solution for that, unfortunately.
No, but it's supposed to be safer at least.
Yeah. Well, and they can, at least you have some recourse, or you can report it and get it.
Yeah.
taken down maybe or something like that. But
Yeah. So that's basically what happened, and then Fortnite just cried foul, and then I think Google very shortly after also
Oh, they both pulled. They both pulled it out of their app
Apple
stores.
did it first.
It was the same day.
Oh,
they both yanked it from the app store on the same day.
I haven't been watching it too closely
and
because it makes me mad.
Yeah, the next day, Epic filed filed lawsuits against Google and Apple, and then Apple turned around and pulled Epic off of the Apple App Store. Like anything
by Epic.
Yeah, and which also included the I want to say Ray. No,
I don't know what else they have.
I don't know. There was something else, but they went to court. Judge ended up saying that Apple could keep keep Fortnite blocked.
Oh, Unreal.
Yes.
So yeah.
So they pulled Unreal, but the judge said that Unreal had to go back on.
Yeah, I actually remember seeing a headline along that, and I was going to read it, but I'm real lazy, so I didn't.
So is the reason why they had to get put back on is just because it wasn't that app that was violating it, just Fortnite?
Yes, there was that, and Fortnite
that seems a little spiteful of Apple.
Oh yeah, it was, but Epic is trying to prove that. Because they were trying to make a deal, and then Apple was like, no, and then they pulled this, and they got pulled out of the store. Thing is that Apple does choose who pays what. They don't have a flat 30%. The biggest one that they're pointing at is Amazon. Amazon doesn't pay 30% of their sales to Apple. They pay much, much less.
That's interesting. But there's a difference, right, between digital content and physical product?
Yes, you could argue that one.
The profit margin is much, much smaller between the two. Like, because you can literally, like, once you've developed it, it takes, like, X number of dollars to develop it, right?
But that's also counting the books. That's counting the movies that Amazon sells.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about physical products here for the first bit, right?
Okay.
So the argument that I'm making is, like, once you've covered development cost, literally 100% of your costs, like, of those sales is free money to you, right? It's all profit, not free money, but profit, right? So 30% of 100% profit seems reasonable to me. And even 30% of, like, a fixed cost profit is reasonable, whatever. But when you're only making 2% off of a physical item profit, then 30% isn't, right? And depending on the product, you may have.
But they don't get a cut of the physical stuff. It's just digital stuff.
Is it only digital?
Yeah, that's why on Amazon, like, I don't know if it's this way on Android, but on iOS, if you try to. You can look up digital stuff, like if you wanted to rent a movie on Amazon's app, but you can't buy it. You have to go to the website to actually buy it.
For Amazon?
It's digital.
Okay.
That's actually most things.
That's interesting.
I know they did that with Comixology.
If it's like a physical item, like something that could be delivered to your house, you can buy it on the app all day. Because since it's a physical thing, Apple doesn't get a cut of it. Because they don't... Yeah, I don't know.
So that just reminded me of a thing that I was reading about Amazon. Have you heard about the Amazon counterfeiting problem?
Where a lot, like, you will supposedly buy a product that's first party, and then you get something that's third party.
So, well,
kind of
like that, but different. So let's say that you go buy Crest toothpaste, right?
Yep. So
you buy Crest. You'll get a bottle that says Crest, but you'll look at the label and there's misspellings on there. It's a counterfeit Crest product. So it's not a generic brand that you get instead of Crest. You get something that claims to be Crest but isn't.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean third party. You're right.
You also have to be careful. There was somebody who was in trade for, like, high-end products, ended up buying, like, a suitcase or something like that, got caught in customs because they thought they were buying a real thing, but it got caught in customs as being fake.
Counterfeit.
They got pulled. Yeah, they got counterfeit. They actually got pulled from their high-end trading groups because of that, because they bought a counterfeit item. They're like everything. They were arguing it. This was years ago. But they were arguing it, and they I'm not sure if they're back in, but they had no clue. Well, absolutely no clue they were getting a counterfeit item.
So yeah, well so here's the thing about this that's just like absolutely bananas. The way that Amazon handles the product makes it so that they don't even know who's selling the counterfeit thing, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that you're an online retailer that's going through Amazon selling Crest toothpaste. We'll just keep with the same Crest thing, right? So you go and you ship 30,000 units of Crest toothpaste to Amazon. They then sell it through your marketplace at that amount, right? That goes into the same bin as some other retailer who's actually sending out the counterfeit ones. So this other retailer ships them 10,000 counterfeit units. They get paid for having Crest, right? And they sell it through their market. But when Amazon goes to pick which toothpaste to fulfill those orders, they're just going to pick from that shared bin of you and every other person who's selling Crest toothpaste of that same size and whatever, right? And so it's completely random who gets the counterfeit stuff and who doesn't. So you can't just say that like this vendor always gives me good stuff, like non-counterfeit. Like it's random. And it's because of the way Amazon does it, because it's way cheaper to just put them all in the same bin than it is to like keep a bin for vendor A and vendor B and vendor C.
Yeah, and it's really dumb that they do it that way.
Well, it makes sense if you consider that's like they're trying to be as efficient as possible and cut every corner they possibly can, but there's no way to cut down on counterfeiting. So you get counterfeit. I think that's part of why Amazon's return policy is so lax. They just consider it loss and write it off.
It's lax, but if you're a repeat offender, even though like you legitimately had to return all these things, you can actually get blacklisted.
Oh yeah.
So like it's nice that it's lax, but it's at the same time like you paid good money, well, probably cheaper, but good money for your item, and you're expecting it to be authentic. And in some cases, if it's not, then it's bad.
Well, and that's one of the big problems is, well, toothpaste is, there's just an example. One of the big ones I always heard about was Apple chargers.
Yeah.
And that could fry your device.
Well, I mean, so I read about
any
this.
USB charger anyways, but
and it could kill you too, but
yeah.
The person that actually went through and was researching this was a person who got they got a real bad rash from shampoo that they bought, and it was supposed to be name brand shampoo. They've been using that shampoo for years. They got a real bad rash. They didn't know what was going on. They went to the doctor. The doctor took them a little bit to figure it out. Then they realized that the shampoo was counterfeit. And so this person just happened to be the person that's a nightmare for people like you with specialized skills that will make your life a living whatever. But they found all this out, that like literally there's no way to tell who sent the bad shampoo because they don't check it.
Apparently a lot of retailers are joining in to tell Amazon, you need to identify third-party sellers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's not even the sellers.
Well, no, there's all around, because there's even
like you can buy from something that says like, if it says shipped by Amazon, doesn't matter right now if it's a first party seller or not. You could still get a counterfeit item, like Ted said.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem.
Like that's the issue.
And the thing is that these people that are doing this, sometimes they will get caught, but they've created a whole bunch of different companies that do this, and so they'll just switch from one to the next.
Yeah.
And there are a lot more stringent rules on who can be an Amazon. They look at you a lot closer now than they did before. But a lot of these people had created like a bunch of companies and got them in when the checks were really relaxed. So
yeah,
it's
going to be a continual problem.
Yeah, slightly related. I've also come across a couple of products where the reviews are really good on it, but it was actually because they changed the product to something else afterward.
Oh, jeez.
Like I've actually come across something like that, and I think a lot of the reviews are really old.
You mean like my cherry pitter, my sous vide cherry pitter?
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
No, you remember that about this sous vide for like?
Right, yeah.
It was actually a questionably good price, but at the time I didn't realize that this was a legit and actually a good a regular good price for it. It was still a good price, but it was not a ridiculous for the brand it was, because I found other like real stores a little bit higher quality for like an extra $20. So I paid a decent price as just a lower end sous vide, but the reviews on Amazon was a cherry pitter.
Yeah, I remember that.
Another thing, the seeds things. Have you guys talked about the people just getting random seeds?
I don't think we've talked about it.
We have not talked about it, but
I don't know too much about it either.
That's an interesting scam too, and it's kind of related.
Is it a scam?
Yeah. And it's not scamming the people who receive the seeds, though. So
okay, explain.
So, what happens? And this might, like, a lot of this doesn't even necessarily have to do with like people in the United States or anything. It's just whatever. So what will happen is that you, a legitimate consumer, will go to a marketplace and buy something from someone, right?
Yeah.
Like Amazon or Alibaba or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll take your details and make another account with your unique details, buy something and give it a good review. And they'll do that a whole bunch of times. Well, the things still get shipped. They're just paying for advertising by giving themselves a good review.
Right. Okay.
So they'll do that in bulk. And that's why a bunch of people in like a certain area might end up with them, is because they'll just say, okay, let's just like capture these customers' details and duplicate them and send it out. So then the purchases look legit.
Because they technically are.
The people that get the stuff, they're just getting stuff for free for no apparent reason, and then they're able to get a better average review because maybe they have a good product, maybe they don't, but now they've got a bunch of reviews that are legit. So you can't even trust reviews anymore. Not that you could before, but. So.
And there's tons of that going out, trying to spot the fake reviews, trying to catch all that.
Mm-hmm. Personally, when I see reviews, like I look for the bad reviews, and then I look for like the people who give the really bad reviews that like appear to change my mind about a product or a place. I'll go look at other reviews they do. And so if someone does a whole bunch of real good reviews on something, on everything, I'm less likely to trust them. And it's the same with bad. Like if someone legitimately got a bad experience and are being truthful, you can go and look at their reviews, and other places will have good, like we did good stuff here, blah blah blah. But people who just like to complain or total Karens or whatever, you'll see just
all the
bad
complaining.
bad review, an okay review, and another bad review, and so then you just know you can ignore those people.
So the way I usually do it when I'm looking for if the product's actually good is I'll look at the reviews that it actually like features, and then from off of that point, I don't stop there, but off of that point, I see how many of these are fairly recent and how many of them are actually good and have like good points and have actual pictures for them. And then like a lot of the times, especially for like, because I was looking for like heat packs or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, like the product used to be good and now it just sucks. And
that's one thing that I need to pay more attention to is the date of the review.
Yeah. So if it's fairly recent and like a lot of the reviews are good, then you're probably in the clear. But if the reviews are really good and then they just start going like poorer and poorer, sometimes it's as easy as the packaging for it is just as bad because Amazon doesn't care about packaging a lot. Mm-hmm. But most of the time it's because it's just, it might even be like a legit product. It's just the materials are inferior now. So
they try to cut corners or whatever.
Yeah, they made the brand good or the product good so that we're known for it, and then they cut corners afterward.
Fancy.
Yeah. Apparently there's add-ons that you can put on your phone or through Chrome
Yeah, but
extensions.
it's still like
I know
it doesn't save you from the counterfeit thing as easily.
Yeah.
Well, it's just as much as Amazon trying to catch it. It's just you're doing it for yourself instead of trying to do it for the millions of people. So it's looking at a different point of view, but it still doesn't mean it's going to catch them all.
Well, I don't even know that it would catch them. Like, unless there's a lot of reviews that say it's counterfeit. Because you might get a review that says it's counterfeit, even though it's really not. It just
And there's
they
that
had a
too.
bad experience with it, or they just happened to get one that was actually like bad.
Garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a garbage product, which happens.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Actually, Ted, you were even saying like somebody who never gives bad reviews. Like I may have given a mediocre review, but I don't think I've ever
Right.
given a bad review. Usually, if I leave a review, it's actually I really like this thing.
If you're like totally glowing on every single review though,
True.
because you might just put like so a lot of people will do like they'll put like 5 stars on something and then they just won't put any notes, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like I do that. I'll go because Amazon it asks me like rate these products and I'm like I've got a spare few minutes. This is a 4. This is a 3. This is, but unless it's like really good or really bad, I'm not gonna put notes in there or anything unless I have something funny to say about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the time, I'm just gonna be like, eh. So like I went to just as an example, I went in the mall in Idaho Falls, went to the freaking Subway there, and the place was just a wreck. It closed down, by the way. It's something else now. I think it's Cookies or something. But the place was not clean. The people that were there were like fairly new as far as I could tell, completely unsupervised. All the garbages were full. Like none of the tables were cleaned off. The people didn't do a good job making the sandwiches. They were just talking the whole time we were there instead of like cleaning up and stuff like that. So I left a bad review. But you know, I go to Arby's all the time. I left a 4 stars. What are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put any comments in there because I didn't have anything to say. So, yeah. You want to talk about World of Warcraft?
Yeah, we can talk about World of Warcraft.
Sure.
Because that's what I've been doing since I stopped podcasting. It's just playing World of Warcraft.
Different hobby.
I am an addict. Bad.
Are you still like playing the auction house or?
Not as much. I don't know. I've probably made about 20,000 gold over the last little bit. I think there's better ways to make gold than what I'm doing. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People
But
do runs like heroic runs through dungeons and stuff like that, and we'll get some decent gold out of it and whatnot. But no, I've just been leveling alts because it's I want to get one of every class.
one of every class. Like, are you always using the same faction, or are you trying other factions too?
I did one with Alliance, but the rest of them are on Horde.
Do you have any pandas?
Yeah, I have a panda. That's the one that I've got at 119 right now. I got a panda monk, and some expansions, for some reason, I just can't tank them, but others I can. So it was weird. So I was going through and I was playing the panda tank because that lets you queue up fastest for a dungeon, and you can get a lot of experience and gear from dungeons. So you just kind of go through, but you got to be a little better geared to be a tank. So I
know what you're doing.
Yeah, and so maybe that's what it was. There were some dungeons I just didn't understand, but I just wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe. And like after a while, I'm just like, oh, this isn't fair to the people who are just trying to go through the dungeon. So I just joined as damage and kept the tank spec, so I didn't do as much damage, but we still got through. But anyway, Shadowlands, they just announced the release date, and they're going to do a pre-patch that looks pretty cool. A couple weeks before, I think. And what they're going to do is, I'm just getting the release date here, because October 27th is the release date for Shadowlands. I think it's going the 26th in North America and the 27th in like Asia and in parts of Europe. based on where they are on the time
zone.
hmm But it's the same exact time for the whole world. It's just depending on where you are at the time is what the date is. But they're doing a level shrink. So 120 is the max level now. The new max level is going to be 70. So they're basically going to have your level with some exceptions depending on your class and stuff like that. And then they're supposed to do this thing where, like right now, like leveling up is just a pain in the butt. You go 60 levels in the vanilla WoW zones, doing all that. But literally, you can go. Everything's scaled to your level, so you can literally do all the quests in one zone, and that's usually enough to get you past that bit.
I don't know. I always thought leveling was really easy.
No, it is kind of, but the thing is you don't get to go anywhere or do anything neat. Like it's just kind of a drag to go through and whatever, because everything scales to your level.
I always try to make it a point to stay in an area for longer than normal.
Well,
and that did make my leveling slower, just because the XP wasn't made for being 10 levels higher than what you were supposed to be. But
yeah, but now it is, and so you can literally stay in one zone the whole time. In fact, the quest lines are chains a lot of the time, and so you can't leave that zone. So you end up in one zone for the expansion, and you just do that over and over and over again. And like the first Pandora zone is a lot of fun. It's really cool.
Oh, I love it.
There's so much stuff, but after you've done it 5 times, it's not great. So,
well, and are you talking the intro area for Panda?
Yeah.
Where you're on the turtle? Well, you're the only
all the levels you need right there.
Yeah, you can, but you can't then.
But you can't.
Like the reason why I didn't want to leave so fast is because you can't go back.
Oh no, not that area. I'm not talking about that area.
Oh, you're talking like in the world
when you're level 70 or whatever. Or I guess it's probably like 90 for that. But you choose between Cataclysm and Pandora, which place you're going to go, and then you go there, and then you just do that one zone where the Horde goes in and attacks the Alliance right in front of the Panda Temple, and like all this crap goes down, and there's all this cool story and everything like that, right? You never get to experience any of the other zones in Pandaria at all. Nothing. Because the quest chains, they're sequential. So if you go to the other zone, you might be able to pick up a quest here and there, but you're not going to get that linear progression. So you're going to miss all the quests. And so what they've done is they said you can choose an expansion and you just do all of your leveling all the way to 60 there, and then go in to do the Shadowlands stuff. I assume that you'll start off and you'll do a little bit, and then you go in. I haven't actually played it, but I've just kind of read a bunch about it. So you'll do a little bit of start, like figure out how to play your character, blah blah blah, and then you choose. Well, I want to do Outlands, and it lets you just play all of the Outlands zones as you level up to 70.
So tangent.
60.
Do you actually like?
Go ahead.
Slightly related. Do you actually like the Outlands?
Some of the zones are real fun. Some of the zones suck. So.
I just know like the intro, like the first area. I took I don't even know what it was. It was a Warlock a class. Okay, I took a Dwarf Warlock all the way up to that point, and then I stopped because the Outlands are just so boring.
Yeah, Hellfire Peninsula is just it's kind of blah. But the other zones like Shatrath and
I think I do remember them, and I think I do. They're fun.
The Fungus Forest area that's right after that is a lot of fun. And then I'm trying to Shattered Lands, I think it's called, is good. Nagrand has a whole Hemet Nesting Wary quest chain.
Maybe it's just that I've never done the quests through that area, because you can level up through it pretty fast and just go to the next zone.
So it just sucks, and so they're fixing that. So
maybe that'll make me get playing again.
I'm pretty excited about it,
because it would be nice just to stay in one zone and like be able to level up instead of just like, because right now you can hold on to a quest, but then when you turn it in, it like grays out a little bit just because it's letting you know that it's super low and you're not going to get that much experience for it.
Right.
So I guess that'll go away.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know exactly how they're doing it because I haven't played it. I haven't watched them do a lot of the, because of the beta. A lot of people were playing through the beta, which is how all this information's kind of getting out. And I've tried to get enough information to kind of see what it's going to be like, but not so much that I kind of ruin the experience for me because
you want to be hyped for it still.
Yeah, so
yeah, I get that.
I don't know all the specifics, and I've just kind of looked a little bit, but they've added a whole bunch of hair and stuff like that. So just looks based, so you can customize your character better that way too. So.
Okay.
How much time we got left, Bill? Maybe we do a little Bill and Ted, or what?
Yep, we do a little Bill and Ted. We got 15-ish minutes, so we could totally go with that.
15 minutes.
So finishing it up, this is the spoiler of Bill and Ted. And
Jeez, we talked
about all sorts of things. That's how the podcast goes.
Surrounded around Amazon.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes.
Amazon
so Theodore
dominates everything. All right, I'll start off. I feel like I've kind of dominated this whole podcast. I think it's appropriate that you had me do the intro too.
There you go.
I really feel like it's my podcast this time. It's nice. I loved Bill and Ted. It's almost a perfect movie. The one thing that I kind of didn't like was Keanu Reeves' acting. And
why?
I think it just seemed kind of forced, and I think he was trying to act the way he acted back in the day when he wasn't a good actor. Because I think he's a pretty decent actor now, right?
I agree. And so, even through The Matrix, I would always think he is very one type. He's whoa, and he's gotten so much better since then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And so the thing is that you can watch him trying to act like he acted in Bill and the original Bill and Ted for continuity's sake or something. I don't know. That's what they expect. But the guy who played Bill freaking nailed it. It was perfect.
Alex Winters.
Yeah, Alex Winters. I feel bad for not knowing his name. He had such a big part in my childhood. But he freaking nailed it.
Or not Winters, just Winter. Sorry, singular.
Winter. And the kids, the daughters.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, they were so awesome, and they were so good playing that modern surfer girls or whatever. But still managing to appear pretty smart at the same time, which I think is something that I didn't realize I needed from the first one. Bill and Ted would use some words that just seemed wrong coming out of their mouths.
Yeah. But it worked for the daughters.
But yeah, it totally worked for the daughters because they didn't act like they were just stupid people. Bill and Ted, they just acted like they just were really stupid about a lot of things. They just hyper focused on the one thing and have these deep sounding conversations about fluff. Well, yes, Bill, but I do not believe we'll get Eddie Van Halen until we have a successful video, right?
Yes.
Right. So they're going back and forth into that
if
circle.
This then that must have this to get that, but that must have that to get this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they're well, that's why we need Eddie Van Halen, and that's why we need a triumphant video. Excellent. That whole spiel worked for them, but I think what they did with the girls, they did the same sort of attitude, but made it work to be not stupid, really knowledgeable in the thing that they're knowledgeable in, which was music. I thought that was just freaking fantastic. So that was my biggest takeaway. I was expecting critics and stuff to just hate it, but I looked on Rotten Tomatoes yesterday and they had an 80% from both the fans and the critics. So that was surprising.
It is. Yeah, actually, because I was hearing some other stuff.
Were you hearing bad reviews? Because I haven't seen any.
Apparently, I think Anthony said he heard. Did you say you heard bad reviews?
About what?
Bill and Ted. Oh, no, it wasn't Bill and Ted. It was
New Mutants.
Yeah, it was New Mutants. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I think Bill and Ted, nobody expected a lot.
They had low expectations. It's the same reason that everybody hates the second Matrix movie is the reason that they like Bill and Ted 3.
Yeah.
They have such low expectations after Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey that
Well, it ended the entire thing. Bogus Journey. So like I said, I got all three, and I watched them, and they are. I don't think I was like, oh, this is an amazing movie at the time. It was a cool time travel movie. You know, back when time travel in the 80s and 90s when time travel movies were just kind of cool.
Right.
And there definitely was just like, this is an okay movie. They're definitely super typecast, and that's why I felt with Bill and Ted Face the Music was they're still typecast. There's quirkiness. There's some weirdness. Because I had watched the previous two, I felt like I had done, I kind of was like when they said station, and he's like station.
Yeah, that part actually confused me a little bit.
It's from Bogus
Well, no, I
Journey.
know. There was those two little guys, and they turned into the one big guy, and they built that robot that beat up the other ones. But
the good Bill and Ted.
Yeah, don't question me on my Bill and Ted knowledge, dude. I know it. You may have just watched it, but it's ingrained in my head. I can literally repeat all the words to the first movie.
Yeah.
You just start it in the middle, and I will pick up the dialogue right from where you are. Yeah.
Okay, where you haven't watched it recently, and you were like saying things. I'm like, oh, I remember that because I just watched it.
Yeah.
There was so much I didn't remember actually.
Right. But the thing is that gets me though is like that's Kid Cudi. He's a rapper. I had to look him up. He has some okay music. It's not really my style, but I kind of liked some of it. And he said station, so I was like, does that mean that he's station?
I wasn't sure. They didn't really go into that, so obviously
that's what confused me because station. I mean, it seemed like just like a monster or something like that, but it was also heavily implied that it could be a shapeshifter of some sort. So maybe station is.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
The other thing also that I thought was interesting is a lot of the quantum physics stuff they talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Is Alex Winter was the big supporter for quantum chess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was doing a Kickstarter because I ended up doing the Kickstarter for quantum chess, and he was one of the big people that was like talking about and helping advertise it.
It's been so long that
I know it has. It's been quite a few years.
I remember we talked about quantum chess, but I don't think I ever. Oh, it looks like it's out and it's only $10 on Steam.
Oh yeah, it's not expensive at all, and you can play it online with friends and everything. Yeah, maybe you'll have to get it, and then we can play.
Maybe I'm not very good at chess, but.
Well, then you can be really good at, but is the chess piece there until you look at it?
That's funny. You can entangle. Okay.
Yeah,
there's lots of nerd
you totally
stuff
can.
There. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I might snag that. I've actually been playing Fall Guys a lot lately, so that's kind of fun and stupid. But so anyways, Kid Cudi is like super smart there, like trying to explain stuff, and I think a lot of it was just technical babble. It didn't really seem to make sense based on my current understanding of quantum, which is like none. I've read a couple books by oh gosh, what's his name? He wrote the book about the physics of Star Trek, and then he wrote Lawrence Krauss. I've read a couple Lawrence Krauss books, so
that was not the name I expected you to pull out.
Yeah,
there was a couple other names I was expecting you to pull out, and that was not even remotely one of them.
Like Neil deGrasse Tyson or something.
I was expecting that one. There's that one, and The Theory of Everything. Author.
In the wheelchair.
The smartest man.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, I was going to say that until you mentioned Star Trek, and then I backed off. So.
Well, as soon as you said Star Trek, then I was thinking Neil deGrasse Tyson. No. And then he pulled another name out. I was like, oh.
No, it was Lawrence Krauss. He wrote books about, like, he wrote A Universe from Nothing, but he also wrote, like, the physics of Star Trek, explaining how, like, Star Trek physics would work and how a lot of their stuff is actually based on theoretical physics and stuff. Interesting stuff. But I think it was
what makes it sci-fi instead of sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah. So, which is why it's better than Star Wars. Yeah, Star Trek's better than Star Wars. Star Wars is just a Taliban in space. I thought you already knew that.
No. Star Wars is a space cowboy opera.
No,
I do like Star Trek more.
That is Firefly.
That's a ripoff of Star Wars, the original space cowboy opera.
You're going to make a lot of people mad.
No, that is literally how Star Wars is explained. It is a space cowboy opera.
Anyways,
though yes, I'll admit Firefly is a space cowboy opera. I
thought it was funny how they kept making jokes about how can a robot be in hell.
Yes,
but they didn't have any problem with Ted's dad's police truck also going to hell.
So something else, they also totally went right over Mozart. Should have known Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah, because it's they could. Yeah, no, they didn't. They got the other guy. They didn't get the same.
Oh, they didn't get Mozart? I thought they.
No, they got.
Was it Beethoven?
Yeah,
the first time
they got Beethoven was deaf, and they got Beethoven the first time because he was completely deaf. Because they called him Beethoven, and he was playing on all four of those keyboards and whatnot. But this time they got Mozart. I remember going, oh, they grabbed a different classical composer. That's really cool. So yeah, that I don't think any of those people should have known him. But then, shouldn't everybody have remembered that one time that they had to play music?
Well, that's the thing about
throughout all time.
So, but that's the thing about time travel, depending on the rules. So, one, they obviously kind of just skim very loosely all over the rules. They're don't question the rules. The rules are just going to make this more complicated, because there is also the idea is that time travel itself can be in flux due to the time travelers.
Right.
So in other words, even though the past has happened, it is going to happen in the future because you're going to travel there, even though it's in the past. So therefore, they wouldn't technically remember them because it technically wasn't. And there's also the multi-timeline, and there's all sorts of things that could be.
Yeah. I actually watched a really interesting video on YouTube about time travel and the different time travels of different movies and art and stuff like that. And so they had the Back to Future one where you have divergent timelines, and then you had Bill and Ted where they just kind of trample all over it and don't really explain much. But for some reason, the time that it is the time that it is at all times, which is kind of weird. That clock in San Dimas is always ticking. Yeah. Which is only there as a plot device so that they have urgency. Otherwise, they could have just taken their time and done it, however long they want.
Well, right? Yeah, because of time travel. But there is time travel that, they do happen at certain times and events. You still, even though you're in the past, you kind of have to go with it. And that's where Doctor Who
says this is a fixed point in time.
Well, yeah, they can't do major changes, right. But that's how they don't go back and fix things that they've screwed up, is because you also can't technically go back to a point in time that you are in, because that will screw things up. 12 Monkeys, I really, really like 12 Monkeys thing, is the fact that time travel exists, so you make sure the past is the past.
Right, don't try to change it. You can't do that.
You changing the past, you changing the past is actually you confirming the past.
Right. No, and so they talked, I don't think they mentioned 12 Monkeys, so that's interesting, because I think they had the same thing. They said that the best time travel one, or the one that they liked the best, not saying that it's the best, whatever, but just that they liked the best, was the Harry Potter one, which I think pretty much lines up with 12 Monkeys. Right. So the thing about Harry Potter was they traveled in the past, but they had always traveled in the past. So when they were in the past, those things already happened. And they happened because they had traveled in the past. So
and Bill and Ted kind of does that a little bit too, going remember, we have to go back and do these things.
Oh, yeah.
Write yourselves notes. It's a good thing they remember that they went back.
A trash can Dead.
Mhm.
Also, where did that come from? Did they just drop it out of the tunnel as they were flying past? Like, that's some incredible aim, if you ask me.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite, and it is so complicated, and it's also usually everybody's most hated is Terminator. The entire Terminator franchise, because of time travel, they are constantly changing the timeline. Like and actually, technically, so does DC with like Flashpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You time travel, you break glass and you put it back together. It's not the same.
Nope.
You cannot put it back together the same. It's going to have ripples. Terminator is super duper that.
Yeah.
That's why, like the latest one, where the robot wasn't Skynet, it was a different one, and Schwarzenegger, he did his job, and then he's just kind of chilling there in the current time, just living and then suddenly realizing, like, Skynet was wrong. Like, he starts taking these realizations, and then a new robot comes up, and he starts working to wipe these robots out because he realizes that that Skynet was evil, and anything like Skynet is evil. And it's so, like, because time travel, there's this, every time somebody time travels, they will change the timeline.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which means that, because then you get into this weird thing that, like, if you change the timeline, how can you go back? Or is it still your timeline?
Oh, no, that's what the last Terminator was really, really, really good at, is that Schwarzenegger's Terminator, the T-800s, were being sent back from a future that had actually was about to be wiped out of existence. So before Skynet's existence was totally wiped out, it was sending Terminators back. Yes, technically, the reason you went back in time is to fix the thing, and once you fix the thing, you won't go back in time.
Yeah, which makes me wonder if it's even the same timeline.
There is the argument of that, or it depends on whether you like the Back to the Future, the divergent timelines.
Well, it would be. It'd just be like all these, like, if you mapped it out, you'd have all these weird timelines where things were happening kind of at the same time, but not at the same time. And so it was messing it up. So, like, yeah, like every time they would send a Terminator back into the past, it was resolving a different one. But the thing is that, like, a way to think about it that was really interesting to me is that, like, so it's kind of like if you watch lightning go across the sky, or like water follow down a path, it chooses the path of least resistance. But how does it know which is the path of least resistance before it goes down that path? Like, I mean, it's not conscious, so it doesn't know. It just goes where there's least resistance to ground. But until it's actually made it to ground, I don't know. I don't understand how it could know that the path that it took was the path of least resistance. Like, it's like pushing in all directions at the same time, right? And just whatever gives, that's where we're going to go. Like, whatever opens up, we're going to go through that route. So the same thing with time travel, right? They can just keep going back into the past and back into the past, and it all happens like as it happens, but it really happens like super, super quick from like a externalist point of view.
Yeah.
Right. So all these things happen all at exactly the same time, and so that none of them ever actually happen, which causes these loops, but they eventually resolve themselves because the robot from the very past goes back and stops, blah, blah, blah. But then he doesn't have a reason to, and, you run into that problem. But that's the thing, like, it would just keep happening until it found a resolution that's stable, and they would move forward in time. And so that ends up being the timeline, kind of, if you think about it that way.
Or at least our timeline.
Yeah, well, I mean, the
like
timeline.
that timeline.
Like if you're saying that there's only one timeline.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll split and splinter and blah, blah, blah. But really the path we take is the path of least resistance. So that's the one without the time travel paradoxes going on that are happening. It just so happens that those time travel paradoxes all kind of resolve themselves and happen at the same time. At least that's how it works in my head.
Yeah. It's interesting.
That's weird to think about.
Yeah, it is.
I like
It's
it.
It's one of those things that if you start thinking about it, you probably shouldn't drive a long time, because you'll find yourself thinking about it, and then you'll realize that you haven't been paying attention to the road.
Oh, that's every time I drive.
You just end up where you're at suddenly.
Yeah, I'm just like, ooh,
I'm
nice.
terrified.
No, it's not like that.
Terrified.
Isn't that how most people drive? They just like hop in their car, turn it on, and then next thing they know, they're at work and they don't know why they got there or at wherever they were going.
I don't know, dude.
Dude.
Why'd you look up Jurassic Park?
It was kind of the water least resistance, the Jeff Goldblum thing.
Oh, the chaos theory. Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of reminding me of that. All right. Well, we probably should wrap things up.
I know. I just remembered that the famous last lines. I think we didn't even really do spoilers too much. I guess kind of they're in there, but whatever.
They're sprinkled, but I don't think they're bad by any means.
Yeah.
We actually didn't give a spoiler alert either.
Well, we said we're going to do the spoiler part.
True.
So, yeah. Oh, well. Anyways, I was looking for a quote. There's always famous last words that I've always wanted to do, and never found the right quote for it because I can't do it from memory. I'm going to have to write it down and do it sometime in the future.
I guess you're going to have to be back on the show again.
Sucks for all your listeners.
It'll be most excellent. So, do you have any famous last words, Ted?
Yes, but I do not believe that we can get a triumphant video until we have Eddie Van Halen on the guitar.
But we can't